Women have been giving birth to humans since time immemorial, naturally. But women aren't simply being kind by giving birth and keeping humanity alive. Reproduction is an age-old, primal phenomenon that happens across species by design of our brains and the many glands and nerve endings running along the lengths of our bodies, from the base of our pelvis up to our spines and brainstems, where certain biochemical urges in the sex, love, and maternity departments are allowed to take shape. In fact, for at least the last 4.4 million years, hominid primates of even semi-human-like posture and pelvic structure have given birth the same way, with major dependence on our reptilian brains, secondary dependence on our limbic brains, and while standing or squatting on two legs, with arms and hands outstretched, prepared to catch and guide our own babies up to our chests for cuddles and sustenance. Aww. All except for humans. Oh. Since the start of the 20th century, women have increasingly given birth in hospitals in ways that run counter to our nature. For instance, where chimps and bonobos and other hominids continue to give birth in private, moving about as necessary to self-soothe, and entering various squatting positions to deliver their own babies before sitting or lying back to cuddle and feed them, we humans have stopped giving birth in the quiet company of one or two experienced birth attendants, and cuddling and breastfeeding have dramatically dropped too. The main culprit for this turn of events, among the most intelligent of the primates? A surgical procedure that has been dubbed, the world over, as cesarean section, or C-section for short. Nearly half of all women around the world give birth by C-section today. But why? And is this something that we should be concerned about? I mean, chimps are going extinct, and all of the great apes still swing from trees. Well, answering those questions deserves a brief story, one that blends 6 million years of biological and physiological evolution with the patriarchy, industrialization, and modern medicine of the Magellan Age, which began circa 4,000 years ago, in case you didn't know. So fossil remains that scientists consider to be very human-like in size and relative structure indicate that human or hominin ancestors, as much as 6 million years old, walked upright on two legs. Whether you're an evolution science enthusiast or not, this is a fact that you should seriously consider if you're in the baby making or baby delivering business. The way that biologists and paleontologists determine whether to place skeletal fossils in the Homini tribe or the larger Hominidae family, which includes orangutans, gorillas, bonobos, and chimpanzees, is in fact primarily based on close examination of the pelvis, along with the ankle, knee, and thigh bones. This is because the gold standard for being a hominin is whether or not one walks upright 100% of the time and bears a downward projecting pelvis that relies on gravity for the emergence of, as we call them, children. Ardipithecus ramidus, our eldest ancestor found in 1994, with a near complete set of bones in the Great Rift Valley of East Africa, and dated to be 4.4 million years old, had upper pelvic blades that were shorter and broader than an ape's, indicating that her baby would need to come out head first in conjunction with her short and wide pelvic aperture, much like a human baby, rather than face first, with neck extended through a longer and more slender birth canal. Like us, Artie is believed to have walked upright and preferred to live on the ground based on her wider sciatic notch. And like most hominids today, she would have given birth in a squatting position, allowing for the widest diameter of her pelvic inlet with respect to her baby's head circumference. And she would have had the arm length and hand size to catch and guide her baby up and to her chest. Meanwhile, Artie had the brain and body size of a chimpanzee, including ample room for hip and thigh muscles in the lower half of her pelvic bones that meant she climbed and ran like a chimpanzee. She is a member of the Hominidae family, but not quite a hominini, human, and not exactly a homininae, ape either. Artie is an evolutionary scientist's dream glimpse into our human past. Her chimp-sized body and brain, yet human-like pelvis inlet and outlet, places her midstream between ape and human on the evolutionary chart. conveying to us through her bones that childbirth definitely is a primal act that we women can bravely complete through raw emotions and reactions guided by the oldest and therefore most evolved parts of ourselves, the reptilian brain. This is the part of the brain that we share with other primates in the animal kingdom. The other two brain layers, the limbic and neocortex, we humans have expanded forms of, with tens of millions more brain cells at work too. More specifically, the reptilian brain includes the brainstem, basal ganglia, and cerebellum. The limbic brain or limbic system is also referred to as the paleo-mammalian or emotional brain, which should give you a sense of what it's all about. It consists of brain regions like the hippocampus, thalamus, hypothalamus, and amygdala. Finally, the neocortex, also called the neo-mammalian or rational brain, is, just as it sounds, consisting of such regions as the cerebral cortex, frontal and prefrontal lobes, and occipital lobe, dubbed the triune brain by neuroscientist Paul MacLean in the 1960s. These three brain regions, when developed to their peak, work together to afford us extra servings of complex emotions, higher order thinking, and creativity on top. Thanks to our highly developed triune brain, we are far less physically aggressive than other primates, rigid in thinking and routine in our behaviors, and we are much better at being cooperative and patient with one another, imaginative and constructive, most of the time. However, we're also the best at exploiting opportunities for personal gain, such as by making sure that C-sections become the new normal. Sadly, we've found really creative ways to pollute the earth and her waters, wiping out entire ecosystems of chordata like fish, reptiles, birds, and, of course, each other, with our impressive limbic and neocortex brains. And even in medicine, which is supposed to heal and restore energy, changes in practice from more food-based and herbal remedies provided by a local doctor to lab-based chemical drugs that are supposed to mimic the natural ones has led to more deaths and diseases by modern medicine than nature or even bad human intentions have intended combined. It's a fact that human beings are astute at creating massive waves of change, sometimes over very short periods of time, that can throw a cog in the great big wheel of evolution. Unfortunately, in places like the US, Brazil, Canada, and the UK, where the natural method of childbirth is being cut off, the next big wave to hit the planet and change the course of evolution just might slam right into us. Have you had a C-section? Learn more about the procedure, risks, and consequences with the C-section book for modern women. Everything you need to know about your womb, your baby, and you for holistic post-op healing and bonding from the inside out.